Hello, I just want to welcome everybody. What we're doing here is we're going to basically show you what you get with the simple solution to calculating your overhead, break-even rate, and burden. We're just going to log in here so you can see what you actually get when you purchase the MyOverhead.com system. Basically, when you first get in here, this is your basically your starting screen. Obviously, you won't have any numbers in here because we already have some numbers into the system. But and you can see that there's quite a bit of information in here. This is like your summary screen. You can click on Start Using My Overhead, or you can come over here to your menu. This is basically the majority of the system here. My Overhead will get you back to this screen, the summary screen. My Profile, when you click on this is basically where you can get your login information, your company information, and your billing information here. My Preferences, this is where you can set up expense entry style. You can do questionnaire, you can do trial balance statement, you can do several different things, lump sum, and like for this example, you can have the trial balance statement default entry type is credit, which on a trial balance statement you either have a credit or debit. But this is just some of your default. You can click on the edit button here, and that will actually take you in so you can actually edit these. And you can click on My Data. This is really where you're going to be spending most of your time is on this My Data here. And it's going to allow you to enter most of your information in here that you need. Now obviously you have some reports over here and calculator that we will show you. We're just trying to keep this brief and simple. Because that's exactly what this thing is all about, keeping it simple. Expenses, here's where you go. This is where you have the questionnaire or you have that trial balance. You can see operating expense, office expense, but you just basically click on this little edit tab and it brings you into here where you can actually click on the edit and enter your numbers. You can see here we have $74,726. And you can see under these other expenses, so they total $119,836. Under employer taxes, this is where you enter your different FUTA, Medicare, Social Security, SUTA, and then like this is some other ones, like if you want to do workers' comp as a percentage, or you had maybe some specific state taxes or local taxes that you want to enter, you could enter in here for the employees, of what you pay out to those employees. You also have your employee data here. You can add as many employees that you need to. This is where you enter all their information. You can click on the green add button here to add new employees, or you can click on the edit button. Like on this particular one, we can click on edit. You can see that when we click on the edit, you can enter their name, make them active, inactive, taxable, tax exempt, pay rate, hourly. You can have a drop down of different rates. Total benefits paid out, you can specify their vacation, again with all the different hourly, daily, weekly, biweekly, yearly, health insurance benefits, and then you would save your changes and you save it out. And then you would hit continue once you save them out. But you can add as many employees here as you need. This is basically where they're just all put together. You can see where we have active here and inactive and more active employees. So we have a total of 5. Here's all their base pay rates and their taxable and benefits, and you can enter them as overtime, enter their overtime rates as well. Equipment, this is basically if you're maybe a contractor or something like that, where you can actually bill out equipment. Like if you're an electrical contractor, you can actually bill out your piece of equipment and it actually counts against hours just like an employee would. So that's really important in the system because our system is all based on hours when it comes to calculating out your overhead. Now your labor groups, this is where you have indirect, which is like your office labor. Now if you're in a restaurant, you're going to have like your managers and things like that, and the people that's actually making the food and things would be down here. Or if you're in a construction, this is all your office personnel, and then down here is all your different people that are out in the field actually working and producing the actual work that you're doing. Indirect, you can click on, you can see this group here, and you can see here where we actually enter in their name. So if we wanted to add another person in here, we would just click add, and we could just choose from the drop down list here, add the person, add how many hours that they have, how many overtime hours, and then just hit save changes. Okay, and you can see that the regular hours, how many overtime hours, employee gross share, and employer share that you have to pay out in taxes, which all constitutes over into which is their benefits or their burden, but in the indirect, it actually flows back in, turns it into overhead, just on the indirect side. So then we have our yearly totals here. So let me return back to indirect labor. Then we have our direct labor groups down here. This is, you can break them up. You can see where you can actually have them in percentages. So if you have multiple companies, you can actually break these up into different groups, or if you're a service contractor, you can have different service groups in here, and you can, it all is based on the amount of hours. So under Service Crew 1, you can see that this guy actually only works about 1,200 hours. We don't have any equipment associated with it. And he has his gross wages are 30,000, employer share, and yearly total. So under direct, you can break these up into different groups. You can add just new groups over here. You can drill down into the groups where you can see the employees and what they actually have. The system is built to make it extremely simple to adding or deleting people into the system, and it immediately changes your overhead and your different numbers. Your workers' comp, you can enter it in as in lump sum, or you can enter it in over here in the employee taxes section. Once you enter all that information, you can come over here and you can see basically the basic report. This is your summary screen. If you wanted to get more detailed, you can click on My Reports, and you can see this is your break-even rate here. This is your average direct labor rate, your burden, okay, and your overhead. This is what makes up your projected break-even rate, $51.17. But if you want to see on a per group basis, okay, this is your average here across everybody. But remember how we were breaking those up into different groups. Say it's a Service Crew 1, we can see based on Service Crew 1, you can see overall, and then on Group 1, their actual average direct labor rate is 25, but their overhead here is 1661 as opposed to 1879, and the projected base rate, which is their break-even rate, you can see that it's actually cheaper. For Service Crew number 2, we go and view that. You can see that their projected or their break-even rate is 53.14, where overall it's 51.17. So this is a real helpful tool to be able to see all your different direct labor groups, how you've broken them out to see what your actual real costs are in all these different aspects. Total number of employees, number of hours worked out in the field, how much you're going to have to pay for them in taxes. Everything is broken down for you here in this section. Under the calculators, these calculators are nice because you can have a break-even calculator. If we look at our overhead here, and we can see that our overhead is $232,990.27, so we'll just say $232,000 to give you an example in this calculator. We're going to enter in $232,000, okay? And let's just say we're going to say that that represents 20% of our overhead. If we're charging 20%, it's going to tell me how much I actually have to do in business here, which is calculated sales volume, meaning I would actually have to do 1,160,000. If my overhead's 232,000, I'd have to do 1,160,000 in business if I was charging a 20% estimated overhead. If that's what I was charging as a percentage for my overhead, I would have to do that much in total revenue. You have an overhead calculator here. You have a project completion, a future projection, which is nice. You can change how many employees you have. You can see based on this information, if your overhead's this, 227,000, your overhead per hour is 2190. If we make one change here and go to 6 employees, you can see that it drops down to 1825. Or let's say you lay off a few employees, now it's going to calculate out. You can see that your overhead is jumping up quite a bit. And if we even lay off even more people, you can see that it can actually get pretty costly on a per hour basis. And then your profit multiplier, most people do not apply profit correctly, but basically what this does is it does it for you. And again, that's in these sections. We'll go into that further. If you sign up Basically, the system is there for you to help you manage these numbers, your overhead, your burden, and your break-even rate. You can see here it's 5117. Your weekly break-even cost is 2,046, and your monthly cost is 8,868. So these are the main numbers here that the system calculates. And it makes it extremely simple to make changes and update. You just go into My Data and you make a few changes and it updates the overall system. You can also go to reports and click on the summary to see it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much, and we look forward to doing business with you. Thank you.